In the repair shop today...
Is it working?
That's what he's checking.
Mischief from Brenton.
Bag. It works. I'll get you back.
Whilst electronics whiz Mark is also getting into trouble with a well-loved electrical device.
If the meter doesn't read correctly, then I've obviously got some serious problems.
First, Cathy Hodd from Kent, with a cherished wreck from her childhood. She's pinning her hopes on the talents of model expert David to fix it.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi. That's a very interesting shaped box.
Wow.
My name's Dom, first of all. Nice to meet you.
I'm David.
Hello, Cathy.
Come on, please, show us what's inside.
So it's like a model boat that goes on the water.
Ah, that is incredible. The detail on that. Brilliant.
So my grandpa built me and my brother one when we were kids. So I got this when I was about 6.
He built
And,
it from scratch?
From complete scratch, yeah. All scraps of wood. So he's an engineer by trade.
OK.
And he saw a picture of this boat and, yeah, decided just to make me out of all bits of scrap that he found in his workshop.
Right.
So, like, the radars are drawing pins with their ends chopped off.
Oh, yeah, I can see the one at the front with the pin. Yeah.
Pins, yeah. These are fountain cartridge.
That's incredible.
So under here, my grandpa's listed all of the different paints and all the codes.
My goodness.
He's done all of the battery housings himself, all the electrics he's done himself.
Oh, it's remote, so it's not just a model boat, it's
Yeah.
remote control.
Remote controlled boat, yeah.
He was obviously a clever man,
Yeah.
your granddad, then.
Yeah, yeah.
What was his name?
Stanley.
Stanley.
Yeah, so yeah, he was a good man. He would have done anything for my brother and I.
Did you
Bless
get to
him.
spend a lot of time with him?
Oh yeah, all the time. Every summer holiday and every like weekends my parents worked.
OK.
Yeah, we would go up and
Visit the grandparents?
Yeah. So
That must have been good fun.
oh yeah, it was brilliant.
So just tell me a little bit about these boating trips with your granddad. Your brother and yourself went out with a pair of them.
Yeah, yeah. Man's faster. Because I remember me and Ian used to always, like, not argue about it, but Ian would put his on first and start going, like, 10 yards, and I'd be like...
No
and
chance.
then mine
No
would,
chance.
Yeah, overtake. I'd always get told to slow down, so...
So you got given this when you were 6?
I had it when I was 6, and it was on the water until I was 13.
OK.
And then it had its accident.
Right.
So it's not been on the water since then. Then Grandpa passed away. So, yeah, we never got a chance to take these back out. Probably for about 10 years, I've taken it to numerous people with models, and everyone said no, they can't fix it.
You're kidding.
No, everyone said they won't do it because there's no instruction kits or anything to put it all back together.
I'm dreading to ask, but what happened? How did it get damaged?
This was on this stand on the top of a 6-foot bookcase.
Yeah.
I rescued a kitten, and kitten pushed mine off. So it landed on the nose, and it also split from where the railing sort of is down to this block.
Oh, yeah, you can see on the top.
Yeah,
It's
so it's
down.
got the crack line,
yeah.
which I tried to make better by...
I think you have made better. I think you've done OK there. But does it still work?
The controller works, the rudder works, but the propeller doesn't. So
The most important bit.
the most important bit,
Actually,
actually, doesn't work.
It's got to go back on the water.
Yeah.
It can't not.
The thought of this going back on, like, I actually can't put into words to you. Like, I can feel myself welling up at the thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the memories are very, very much held within my heart.
Yeah.
It would be nice for, like, me and, like, my brother, because my brother still works, so if we all went out and just be, like, doing it for Grandpa.
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing it in. I'm really looking forward to getting onto this, and yeah, I can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very
Nice
much,
one.
guys. Thank
you.
you.
See you
take
later.
care.
And you.
Bye.
That's a job, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, the boat symbolises my granddad, all of his hard work, the dedication, everything that he is in that boat. My happiness as a child is within that boat. I've told myself for the last 14 years that it's not been possible. So for someone to say it is possible, I'm hopeful.
I do a bit of model boating, and I've built one or two, but never one like this. It's in a rough condition, but the most important thing is I want to get this thing back on the water. I've got to sort out the hull, make that watertight, cure that front end, then I've got to cure that crack in the top superstructure. But also the electric motor has stopped working, so I'm going to take that out and see what's going on with that.
From one treasured possession that's lost its spark to another, Laura Sayers and daughter Emma from Sussex have a keepsake charged with memories.
Hello.
Hiya.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I'm Jay, and you are?
I'm Emma. This is my mother, Laura.
All right.
Hello.
So, what's in the box?
So it's my father's old multimeter for measuring electrical goods and systems.
OK, we're going to need Mark on this one. Mark, if you don't mind joining us.
Yeah, indeed.
Electrical meter.
Yeah, so my dad was an electrical engineer for British Telecom.
And your husband's name?
Ray.
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 Is
Ray
Ray
Sayers.
still with us?
No, he passed away when Emma was a baby, so she didn't know her dad.
Yeah, I was about 18 months old,
Right.
so I don't have any memories of him. So the way I got to know him was with the things he left behind, so little things like this are very precious to us.
So, what would this do?
Well, he would take this with him when he wanted to test any of the telephone lines between the telephone exchange and maybe a switchboard in an office or a factory.
So this is really an important tool.
I use a similar manufactured item today for all the things I do here.
He had to be a really good mathematician because he had to get the calculations just right to know exactly what part of the road to dig up. Because you can't dig up a whole road to find the electrical fault.
So what was he like? And he's a genius, first and foremost.
He was wonderful. I mean, he could do anything.
Yeah?
His vision when he was going to retire early was
Yeah.
to set up a little workbench at home and offer to mend things for people. But we didn't get that far.
Do you mind me asking, how did he pass away?
So he got diagnosed with lung cancer and only lived for 5 more days.
5 days from when he was diagnosed?
Yes, they got it wrong the first time, and it had already transferred to his blood, and then there's nothing you can do. It was all too soon. We'd only known each other 7 years.
Wow.
For many years, I just couldn't... I couldn't bear to be reminded that I'd lost him, so I wouldn't touch anything. But time's gone on now, and I can honour him again, and he'll be chuffed to know that it's going to be used by his daughter,
Yeah.
the one that he didn't have enough time with.
So I'm an electrician for temporary power installations. So generators at festivals, and part of testing a system is using multimeters.
So what would you think your dad would make of that?
I reckon he'd be chuffed. I think he'd be giving me loads of advice.
He'd be absolutely delighted.
Yeah.
She's her father's daughter.
Yeah. And is it working, or is it...
Not at the moment. I have opened it up and had a look inside. One issue is the batteries, because one of them is a standard AA, but the other one is a different size one.
OK.
That we're not entirely sure where to source it. I would love to get it calibrated as well, so I know that it is giving accurate readings when I
Yes.
come to use it.
What about the case itself? Would you like anything done with that?
Yeah, so at the moment it's very dirty and it's covered in marks. And I think some of the stitching is going, you know, if it could be cleaned up and preserved,
OK.
that would be wonderful. To see it working and use it will, in a way, be like my dad is still around keeping me safe.
It will be an honour to do it.
Yeah.
And I imagine somebody up there will be going, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Thank you for bringing this in. I can't wait to see you get this working.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
When I first found the multimeter, it made me realise that there's a lot more similarities between myself and my dad than I realised.
I'm glad it's going to be used because it has been living in her dad's shed for the last 23 years. He would be just thrilled to bits. I know he would.
How you doing, Suze? You all right?
Yeah, good, good. What have you got?
So Laura and Emma brought in this multimeter case, and basically Mark's working on a meter. I want to find out if you could spruce this up somehow, just bring the life back into it.
I love this. So just clean it up and get it back into good condition? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
I'll leave it with you.
I've just opened the back up because Emma mentioned that there's a battery missing. Now, we have 2 batteries to fit. One is a standard AA, 1.5 volt, and that will fit in there. Multimeters need a higher voltage to go through the resistive path to be tested. And to do that, you can't use a conventional 1.5 volt battery. You have to have a more specially prepared one. In this case, this HD battery is 15 volts. Second thing I've found here is that the wire was separating, so it would have affected the meter's accuracy. So that needs to be soldered back on. Still got a number of things to do before I can get to the more exciting bit and seeing how accurate it really is.
Also on the lookout for a loose connection is model toy expert David.
Now the radio gear is out of the model boat, Cathy mentioned that the motor wasn't working. The motor is actually connected to the propeller, and it's the propeller that drives the boat backwards and forwards. I have noticed that there is a loose wire on this little connector block, which goes directly to the motor. All I've got to do is actually put this wire back in and make sure that the connector screw is done up tightly, which it is. The next thing really is to switch it on and see what happens. It's not doing anything. Still not doing anything. Oh dear. Just check the batteries. Ah! So, I think that's a little bit of a dirty switch. So, I'm gonna have to clean that switch out with a wire brush, make sure that's reliable. The last thing we want is for this thing to get out in the middle of the lake and the switch goes, because I'm sure Cathy's not going to want to go in swimming after it. I'm about to start work on the bow of the model destroyer, and I think the best way that I can fix this is I'm going to cut the very tip off in one piece. So I've found some balsa wood, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount that in and then reshape the very tip of the bow. When I do this repair, I've got to really make sure that it's 100% watertight. It is quite a delicate operation, really. There we go. So now I've removed that front end, although it's not quite the right shape, I can use it as a template to give me the initial lines so that I can then carve this block to a rough shape. So that's actually worked out really well. That fits quite nicely, almost gap-free joint. That's now well coated, so I'm just going to push that in. Because this is a gel glue, it will gap fill a little bit. That looks as though it's set, so I might just leave it for another minute and then I'm going to carry on sanding it and shaping it. The damage on this is probably the worst of any other part of the boat. It's a really nasty crack, and unfortunately, the wood that Cathy has put in has twisted and is bending this decking up. So I've got to remove this first, and that will then give me a reasonably clear area to then start to take the deck apart. A little bit of brute force, but not too much, and I can actually feel that it's starting to separate. There we go. Now I've actually removed that piece, I can make sure that that sets in the flat, correct position. The next stage is to repaint where I've had to fill it and the little bits of damage. I'm really lucky that Cathy's granddad listed all of the paint colours that he'd used on the boat. All of that having been said, so the new paint that I've put on is actually a few shades darker than the original paint, which has been bleached by the sun and age. So I'm going to use a little trick. I'm going to spray matte varnish the entire boat. That's going to have the effect of actually darkening the original colour, and then that should help to match in with the new paint that we put on.
Next, another precious piece of family history. Sandy Norris from Kent has a vintage gardening gadget in need of silversmith Brenton's expertise.
Hello there.
Hello.
I'm Brenton.
Hi, and I'm Steve. Hi.
What have you got there?
It's a garden spray for spraying roses. It was my grandfather's in the holiday house we had in Cliftonville, Margate.
Right, OK.
And I reckon it must be about 100 years old.
Right. It's a very unusual thing to have memories about. So what were your memories of it?
Well, when we came down to the holiday house, it was Mum and Dad's job to open the garden up and the house up. And so the weeds were sort of right up here. So they'd get cracking on that. Mum would then use this to spray the roses with. And then it was laying around, and my sisters and myself, we used to pick it up and have a big bucket of water, and we'd run round the garden spraying each other and just having a whale of a time. Just 6 weeks of pure bliss. It was wonderful, and evenings spent round a piano. It was a wonderful childhood. Yeah. And then when my grandmother died, the house was sold.
OK.
And everything was auctioned off.
OK.
But this obviously meant something to Dad, that he took it with him.
He'd associated that with you guys playing when you were little?
I'm sure he did, really, yes. Yeah.
So what was Dad's name?
Richard.
Richard.
Was he quite a sentimental person?
Yes, very sentimental, and his family meant everything to him. He died 2 years ago, and we were clearing out the garage, and we found it, and I thought, oh, my goodness, I haven't seen this in 60 years.
How do you use it?
Well, as I remember, we just used to put it in, pull this up, it still comes up,
right.
and then put our thumb over it before we squirted it.
It's
And
like, yeah,
so
it's a water pistol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot of woodworm in now, so the handle's gone.
Yeah.
There was another nozzle,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was this colour.
No, I could see it's brass, and probably when it was brand new, it was really shiny.
Yes. I'd like to have it on display so that I can tell the grandchildren all the stories of playing, and I know they'll want to have a go at using it.
Of course they will.
Yes, so it would be fantastic if it could work again.
Thank you so much for bringing this in. I know Brenton's going to enjoy doing this.
Definitely. And if it works, he'll be the first one that gets it.
Yes, yes, that'd be good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Can't wait.
That's incredible.
The syringe is all my childhood memories of summers, laughing, playing, sunshine. To have it, if they can repair it to make it work and to make it look shiny again, it would just be fantastic.
I remember these from not my early days of gardening, but I do remember seeing them in gardens and people using them. So luckily, the tube looks absolutely perfect. Sandy said that she used to put her thumb over the end when she was firing this, and that is because there's also something missing here. There's supposed to be a valve there which allows the water in very quickly, but when you press the plunger down, it stops the water coming out of there, and it makes it come out of this very fine tube here to make the mist. And I can see there's something missing here, and I think it might be the holder for a spare nozzle. So what I really need to do is to find a broken one of these somewhere for those parts. I also need to make a new handle for it, but the first thing I'm going to do is now to polish this all up.
Also on the case to smarten up a cherished keepsake is Suzie, ready for when Mark resurrects the electrician's multimeter.
Looking at the stitching, which is actually very much intact, other than these corners here, and that's to be expected as it's been plonked down. It's obviously going to get some kind of wear. So the first thing I need to do is get cleaning and remove all these nasty stains and marks. The glycerine saddle soap is going to be absorbed into the pores of the leather that will release all the grime and dirt on the top. See, already there's an awful lot of dirt coming off on this towel here. And seeing it react like this makes me very hopeful to what the end result is going to be. And it's going to be quite gorgeous.
Now, I'm going to do a simple test on a DC range. So, by connecting the meter leads to this particular battery, it's just allowing me to know that the connections all from here, from the battery, all the way down to the meter is actually functional. If the meter doesn't read correctly, then I've obviously got some serious problems. And the reading is 9.7, 9.8 volts. I'll use a digital meter to see what the battery reads, and this will be more accurate. And that says it's 9.98 volts. So for an analog meter to a digital meter, that is pretty good. But I've got numerous other tests to do, and then that will give me a great feel and confidence how good the meter is still behaving after all this time of not being in use.
This case is responding really well to the cleaning and conditioning. It's got that lovely honey, warm colour coming to it, and makes me very excited. So while that's all soaking in, I'm going to address the damage to the corners here where the stitching has just worn away. In my early days of training as an apprentice, I was always having to use white thread on light-coloured leather, and it would just stand out if you got your stitching wrong. But that's how you make a good hand stitcher.
Starting the calibration of this multimeter, as I'm doing certain tests, I noticed that the meter movement, rather going back to 0, is in fact sticking. When that happens, a little bearing which supports it is in fact just needs a little tweak, and I say tweak, it's a gnat's whisker. It's incredibly small to make the difference. What I'll do now, I will slowly wind the power supply up, and that is also reading 100 volts. I will now disconnect the power supply altogether by turning it off, and the meter will drop back down to 0 again. It's behaving spot on, perfect.
There you go, Dave. You all right?
Yeah,
full
that was
enough?
great. Brilliant.
Outside, the model destroyer is looking ship-shape once again, but David can't claim a victory for his repair just yet.
We've got to make sure it's watertight.
OK.
Then hopefully Cathy can test it on the lake.
So this is the big test?
Yeah. So this is
Go on.
moment of truth.
Drop it down. Is water coming in?
I can't see any at the minute. I think we might be all right.
Yeah? OK, good. All right, we best get this out, dried up, and get it ready for Cathy, yeah?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, well done, Dave. Well done.
Success.
This remote control boat unites Cathy with her grandfather, who built it for her from scratch. Accidental damage put it out of action, and Cathy has returned with brother Ian and his boat, hoping to rekindle the childhood memories they hold.
Excited to see if it's actually all back together as it once was, how Ian and I would remember it.
I'm really looking forward to seeing if Cathys Boat works. Last time we used our boats was well over 15 years ago. It'll be the first time we've used it since Grandpa's passed away.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, this is my older brother Ian.
You can pop it down.
Thank you. I'm hoping both Cath's and mine work so we can get them back on the ponds and have a little race.
We've not had them together for so long. I'm just hoping it's the same as how we remember it, like when we were kids. How my grandpa would have had it, how my grandpa would have fixed it, like...
Yeah.
Do the honours, David. Go on.
Oh my God, it's great, doesn't it? Right. That looks amazing. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Give me a second. Yeah, it's really good. It's incredible.
It's just as I remember it.
It looks so good. You can't even see the crack.
Do you think Grandad would be happy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He would be chuffed to bits. With that, he would have been absolutely chuffed to bits.
I'm pleased. I think I want to see these things go.
Take them up to the lake. Let's do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah?
100%.
Oh, well, it's floating. Here we go. Oh my God, it's really quick. You're smiling, Cathy. How's it feeling?
It's insane. It's weird. It's like we're kids again.
That's it.
You're away.
Oh,
Oh, look at that. That was choreographed.
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, still got all the skills.
Yeah, well, just. I'm literally lost for words. The repair is incredible. The feeling of getting it back on the water with my brother is insane.
It's just brought back so many memories.
Yeah, really, really happy.
Also with the wind in his sails is Brenton.
I managed to get an old broken garden syringe from an antique shop, and it had all the parts I needed, including this nozzle with the valve in it. And this is a little ball that automatically locks this hole up and stops the water or liquid coming out. I've also got some spare nozzles so I can make Sandy's syringe complete again. I'm just going to put these into Steve's clock cleaning solution. I hope he doesn't mind. And these should come up really, really nicely. I've got these parts that I've taken out of the clock cleaning fluid. They've come up really nicely. This part holds the spare nozzle so you don't lose it. During the water fights, this obviously got broken off and I want to replace it. I'm just going to put some flux onto the joint, which helps the solder to flow and keeps the joint clean. So once this is up to the temperature, which is several hundred degrees, this solder should melt and just flow into that joint, and that part will then be attached to the syringe. That's on there well now. Once that's cooled down, I can get onto the piston, which is the bit that pumps the water. So this piston fits snugly into this tube, this brass tube, and this needs to create a seal so that the water can be sucked up first of all and then pumped out. The string that was in this pump was certainly over 60 years old and maybe over 100 years old, and I figure if it's lasted that long, string is a good way to seal it, and I'd like to keep it true to the original. If it's too tight, then you won't be able to pump it, and if it's too loose, all the water will leak out. So I've got to get the balance between the two. OK, that's in. And now the moment of truth, see if it actually pumps. I can feel the air coming out. I can't wait to try it with some water. But next I've got to make a handle so that it's easier to use and looks really nice. Unfortunately, the woodworm have chewed the handle away and there's nothing left of it. So I've got a piece of ash here in the lathe. I haven't done wood turning for an awfully long time. It's really nice to get back onto a lathe again. Only part of this piece of wood that's absolutely critical is the part where the piece of brass goes on it. And it has to be exactly the same size or it'll wobble about inside. The rest I will use artistic license and just make a nice handle shape that works and is comfortable in the hand.
After hours of testing, Mark is almost on the home straight with the repair of the electrician's multimeter.
Mark.
Ah, hello there. Oh,
I
wow.
have Emma's case ready for you.
Oh, terrific. That's great. No, thank you so much. That'll be very good. And by the time I put it back in there, it should look really smart again.
I can't wait to see it.
Nor can I.
OK,
Thanks so
good
much.
luck.
Thanks then. Bye-bye. Right, I'm going to give it one last little test and make sure that everything is still good. Whee, come on. Pretty spot on there. I'm happy with that. It's now going to go back in its gorgeous case, which Suzie has completed, and then I can happily present it to Emma. It looks really smart.
This well-used multimeter was one of few mementos left by a father to the daughter he never had the privilege to know. Now Emma has returned with Mum Laura, hopeful that it's ready to accompany her as she follows in her father's footsteps.
I'm hoping to see the multimeter obviously working again, and I want to see the little dial moving because I've never seen that before.
I think probably the last time I saw it working was about 24 years ago, when Ray was trying to teach me how it worked, and I just couldn't grasp it. I just want to see it working and see Emma's face light up. That's the big thrill for me.
Hello.
Hello again.
How are you feeling?
I was a little bit nervous this morning, but now I'm just excited.
So what are you hoping to see?
I'd like to see it how I think it would have looked when Ray first had it.
And I'd like to use it to test electrical equipment at work.
I'm so proud that she wants to use it.
Are we ready?
Yes,
Yes,
we're
please.
ready.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's not grey anymore. It's a completely different colour. Pop it open.
It's wonderful.
Oh, and this has been cleaned as well.
Oh, look at that. And look at that beautiful stitching. It's beautiful.
It looks fantastic.
Yes. I'm thrilled to bits with it.
Would you like to see it working?
Yes, please.
Right, OK. I have a resistor. Just leave that there.
There it goes. Whee.
Oh, God, it's like seeing him again. Oh, it's really going. Gosh. To see that all the time. Any excuse. Your dad would get this out. I'll just test this.
Did
I'll
he?
just check this. I'm just so happy that it's working and that you're going to enjoy it as much as I know he did.
There it goes.
And look at that. It's just so wonderful to see it working. And
Oh, what needs fixing at home? Your radio's been playing
radio,
up.
yes.
Okay.
Have a look at that.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's been lovely to meet both of you, and you've enjoyed working on it.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been an absolute pleasure.
There you go. It's yours to take home.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Seeing the multimeter working for the first time was fantastic, because there was a little part of me that was nervous that it wasn't going to work.
Ray would be enormously proud of Emma to know that she wants to use it and will get such a lot of pleasure out of using it the way he did too.
Also nearly ready to leave the barn is the garden syringe.
So this is a little pin, and this just holds the handle on. OK. I think that looks great, and it certainly looks a lot nicer than the woodworm-eaten handle that was on there. So now I can try it and see if it works. I've got a bucket of water here.
OK.
And we'll give it a go.
What, you just pull it?
So you just pump some water into it.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Good. That's what
And
he's
then
checking.
just,
Bang!
It works.
Sorry. I'll get you back.
This century-old rose sprayer was battle-weary from countless summer water fights. Now Sandy's back, hoping it can be returned to active duty for her and her grandchildren to enjoy.
It's been 60 years since the syringe was last working, and the handle was completely falling apart, so really looking forward to seeing it again, and hopefully in a working order.
She is. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
So how you feeling, Sandy?
Oh, very excited.
Yeah. So what are you hoping is underneath there?
It would be lovely if you could actually spray,
Yeah.
and it would be nice if it was shiny.
All right. You ready to see it?
I'm ready to see it.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. it snobs back on. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, that's fantastic. There's a new handle.
New handle, yeah.
Oh, it's far better than I ever thought it could be. It's fantastic. I can't thank you enough.
Absolute pleasure.
So holding it now, does it bring back any memories?
Oh, yes. Happy memories, playing and spraying each other and hot sunny days. Oh. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Talking of having a go, do you want to have a go of it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Who can I spray?
Steve, you want to get sprayed up again, mate? Thank you. All right, no, so he's not up for it. I'm not up for it. Brenton might be.
No.
Let's take it outside. And we've got the flowers for you.
You mean I can't spray it at you?
No.
I'll imagine it's my sister.
Yeah.
Oh, it works really well. Fantastic. Oh, it feels wonderful.
Yeah.
Myself and all my family are just going to love it.
Great.
I'm very excited for my grandchildren, and I shall have a bucket of water already there for them. And myself watching them will then keep my memories alive.